might get kicked from the game, Nate. I can't right now, Nate. I'm trying to set it up. Okay. Okay, here we go. One second, Nate. Time to stream now. Stream. Okay, we're good. Your leg is really bad. Okay, cool. Switch the hits again. Oh, what a big jump right there. This is so laggy.
Justice is gonna dispense itself. Thank you.
Let's get patched up.
Get behind the barrier. Behind the barrier.
Hold up. Not fast enough.
There's 2 people watching the stream right now. Sick.
This is gonna make you feel better. 60 seconds.
Leave to me!
I need healing.
Get behind the barrier.
It's incredible. Nice, Nate. It's triple.
Suiting up. Get behind the barrier. Now, so then.
30 seconds remaining.
Take the protection or it's all over.
Taking the point. Shot. Bridge banks. I'm on fire.
10 seconds remaining.
Pick up the pace.
Commence attack on objective B.
Yeah.
is ready to be deployed.
Oh.
My ultimate is ready.
This is trippy. I have 2 screens going up right now. I don't know which one to look at. So I'm just gonna look at the laptop.
Group up with me.
I'll do this. I'll stream it right now.
I'm
Let's
stuck.
get here.
I'm returning my side of the point.
To dash.
Oh, let's break it! Damn!
Oh, Genji got him.
Team for special attack. With your
I got false by mercy. That's embarrassing.
Well, now.
My ultimate is charging. Hiya!
Healing boost! Double time!
Really?
My ultimate is charging. My ultimate's ready.
You got what? Got the key on now. Dead eyes ready. I need a doctor.
60 seconds remaining.
I need a doctor. It's high time.
Dude, they put up a shield.
We're all now.
30 seconds remaining.
Nothing you can do.
Overtime. Defeat.
Sweet.
Play of the game.
I didn't know arcade went into this. Round 3. Bruh,
Yo,
when do you think you're gonna come down?
I do not know. Why, what's up?
Oh. I don't know. You wanna see what I'm doing?
What's that?
I'm live streaming.
Are you really live streaming?
Look.
Oh, really? Holy crap, dude.
And then...
Are you on Twitch or no?
No, I'm just using OBS to stream to YouTube.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, we found a game.
Prepare your defenses.
There's live stream. Okay, cool, it works out. No, I didn't get kicked. I just done left. Okay, I'm gonna close my window now. That is it. Heck. And I'll be back in a second, Nate. Okay, Nate's have a turn. In case you cared at all. I know you probably didn't. I might just go in the game browser and do some stuff in there. YouTube. Nate. Should I make a review video sometime soon? Like, not like a review video, I mean of like a reaction video to videos on YouTube. Would that be cool? Like how, do you know who Flight is? Nate. Oh, he reacts and he sucks at editing, but he has millions of subscribers, so I'd hope. Hey, tell Shark, give me your hands. Right here, man.
That's fuel that has that kind of mature, responsible head on his shoulders that you would entrust to kind of create a good system for a team. I think that's one of the reasons.
I'm watching Atlanta Rain right now.
Obviously, had a lot of
I
success.
may change my stream title right now. Watching Overwatch League. Nate, are you still here? Okay.
If you're a now, right? You're still very much wanting in the season, not because
Who's playing
if
right now?
you look at deep down. Obviously, every player goes,
Vancouver
"I want to
Titans
win."
or South
You know, I
Field?
think some might be
Dallas
more
is gonna
realistic,
win.
but the reality is that you look at Dallas as a team, you look at their trajectory, and
Well,
I think
Vancouver
you would
was
be
good,
foolish
bro,
to
but they
think
just kinda, like,
otherwise.
dropped
The idea
off.
that the Fuel will probably have one of the bigger roster shakeups from the end of the season into the 2021 season. So if you're a Fuel player right now, you want to make your mark and show, look, I should still be on this team. But now, Josh, we're back into the game, and we'll see how long Fuel can hold on. Not long.
Well, not long. They immediately lost control of the point, which perhaps wouldn't have
I'm watching
happened if there
Overwatch League
was
right now.
a pause there, but they're going to gracefully retreat
I don't know.
and
I'm
regroup
just live streaming.
and get ready to go back into this engagement. It's especially important for
Well, and I'm
Oligod as well, right?
streaming
Like,
it.
he's
Like,
one of
I'm-
those people that has
I'm
come in playing on
streaming,
high ping,
watching
like a
it,
lot of the
and I'm
Vancouver
also
Titans
streaming
players, and has been performing
so
at a pretty
people
decent
see
level and really wants to get his
and hear
name
what I'm
out there
doing.
as somebody that, even should Dallas choose not to pick him up next season, somebody in the Overwatch League should.
Absolutely.
watching it.
Now Vancouver, they're applying
And
the
also
pressure.
talking.
Onigod, Gamsu, both down. Gamsu got caught early, and the shield presence just not there for the Fuel. 94% to go. The Fuel cannot retreat. They must stay on the point
Oh,
here
yeah.
and
Does
now.
it still say
Crimson
on
again dropping
Overwatch?
the Ant Matrix, but Note falls, and the Fuel just get bullied back. Noel went back to that early swift pickoff on the Gamsu.
Yeah. A really nice flux from KSA was part of what set that up. And the Vancouver Titans, again, coming out and looking pretty good on Oasis. This was the map that they ended up taking away from the Florida
That's
Mayhem
fine.
when they
Yes.
played against
It'll
them
catch
this
up.
week. And
Josh,
hello.
it's happening. It's happening. Doha is
here we
swapped to the
go.
Sombra.
The Doha
Coca-Cola.
Sombra. Doha, in
Official
my opinion, is
refreshment.
one of the
In the
elite level
Overwatch
Sombras
League.
that we have in the Overwatch League. He's on the same kind of level as your Lip, your Dante, I mean, maybe you'd have Hisu in that discussion after his good performance in the Countdown Cup. But Doha really is up there with the best of the best. His time in Contenders, he was fantastic. So I'm interested to see what he can get done here.
Yeah, and it is a different setup. I mean, back in Contenders, he had his entire team pocketing him. It was an era where you threw
Nice
everything behind the
mid-fight they
Sombra, and the
got going
Sombra
on.
built an EMP instantly. It's a little bit different, but all the
Vancouver
instincts
Titans holding
should
the
still
point.
be there. And we'll see if this is what the Fuel have been waiting for. Shredlock, though.
Ooh, that's a
Gonna
risky
start
dive
things
by
off the
Winston.
Vancouver team looking for the aggression early on. And Shredlock getting really nice heals, but how long can he
He's a-
sustain? Not for long. Gets caught on the leap away. The Fuel, meanwhile, still very healthy. But, one thing of note, Doha struggling to build much EMP there.
Yeah, a little bit. I think he was just harassing and looking for a hack, because this is actually very similar to a meta we saw in APAC at the beginning of the season. We've seen this Sombra Reaper come out before. And this is a Sombra Reaper rush composition. It's just got the Orisa instead of the Reinhardt that was prevalent at that time. It has great ult cycling, and crucially, Doha's hacks can just allow you to rush down any target on the other team. So I think Doha was just aiming to try and get a hack on somebody there and didn't quite manage to pull it off.
Well, now he's going to have more opportunities as the fuel on the defense, and oh, they turn into.
Okay. Okay, I did it, Nate. Nate, my stream is up. I think. Nate, bro, go look at my stream. It works now.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Ladies and gentlemen.
get ready, no. Get ready. Ready, set, jump to the rhythm as hard as you can go. Steady, to the letter, right? Turn it up. We giving a show.
Hey,
Hey,
what'd I miss?
Nate. 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 Nathaniel the Third.
the Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renters insurance.
Hey guys, welcome back to another stream. Not like I've already been streaming for a while.
The crazy compositions continue as the Fuel take map 1 over Vancouver, but now we head to a map very recently infamous for Dallas. We head over into Eichenwald. And Josh, a question I think on everyone's mind right now is, do we see the FAR again, or does Dallas pivot?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting question, honestly, because it's the same two maps, Oasis and then Eichenwald, as in the most recent Fuel series, where they played against the Gladiators. Now, they ended up losing that series 0-3, but what I took away more so than just, oh, Dallas are playing badly, was the composition that they played. The Dallas Fuel's composition, where they played Pharah Ashe for pretty much the entirety of Oasis and Eichenwald, was with like an Ana Mercy backline, was an interesting take on the meta. And I think what we've seen so far, ZP, from APAC and from North American games this week, is that the meta is not solved by any means. No one really planned for Zarya Brig and G-Tracer being removed. No one had an immediate answer to what the meta should be, and it seems like a lot of different teams have got different takes. It seems like, though, Dallas, having lost 3-0 to the Gladiators, have opted away from Pharah. I think it was just putting too much pressure on Doha to perform and made it a bit too easy for a star DPS, hit scan DPS player on the other side to shut the strat down.
I think that's always valuable, though, at the very least, where it's, okay, you have a pretty bad loss, but you can go away from it and go.
Oh my god, Junkrat gameplay. I just came back, mate, sorry. Oh my god, it does not mute it. Did it mute it? No. Didn't mute it. Did I find out how to mute it? Yes!
Junkrat is dead.
Right.
The Sombra out, and the Dallas will have officially pivoted from their last Eichenwald.
Yeah, Dallas going with the same team comp that we saw previously. Oh, looks like Doha's going to make the swap over to... Okay. We're going to see full-scale swaps, actually, here. And Dallas Fuel go for a full poke comp. So this is a long-range composition designed to break shields and then push in.
Such a god.
It might be a little difficult for the Titans to deal with this, unless Shockwave hits a lot of shots or they build up immediate EMPs.
Dalton's getting some pretty serious build here so far. The question is, can Vancouver get a pickoff and hold Dallas back before they get to that point? The Fuel know they're better with the early aggression, and Dalton's down. The EMP threat already gone. The Fuel still looking healthy.
I was just saying what you're
and
doing.
this is tough for Vancouver, where once more, Josh, they look to Shockwave and look for Sucker.
Scan for your screen.
Crimzo has fallen, separated from the rest of his team, though. A bit of miscoordination there from the Dallas Fuel as their backline got a wedge driven in between it at the front line. And Dallas are now in a scrappy situation where KSA is just going around, seeing if he can get kills.
Vancouver, I mean, they just kind of brawl it out at the end, where Dallas had an advantage there, and Vancouver just stayed together, had good heals, and it just seemed like the Dallas Fuel dropped one by one.
Yeah, Dallas, I think, really messed up their positioning once they had the advantage in that fight. Doha had already swung out left, and Gamsu had pushed really far forwards as well, but they hadn't escorted their admittedly very squishy backline into a good position. So Crimzo fell as the first casualty in that fight. And now with ults up, things start to favor the Titans a little more, because we're going to be getting close to that EMP.
Sig, we're going for the massive limb, nothing to fight, no one fights, no one going down on the belly, watch out for the experimental belly. Push it up, lift up, massive riptide, massive riptide, massive. Punch him, he's going up to corner, he's going down, he's going up, going behind him. Connects the roof.
And it gets rid of the healing, but I'm not sure that's enough, Josh. Vancouver onto their own.
I'll skip ahead of them.
Applying the pressure now to the Fuel. Now remember, the healing's a little bit less.
I'm like 6 seconds off. Okay.
It perfectly found its way onto Crimzo, and when everyone else on the Dallas Fuel was peeling for Crimzo, all of the heals were going into him, all of the shielding was going into him. Instead of trying to kill Crimzo, who was behind a corner, instead they just piled into Gamsu, knowing that all of that heal was not available for the Orisa. So smart play from the Vancouver Titans, and Shockwave gets the credit for that kill. They've managed to hold on here and force Doha onto the Mei. Dallas are struggling.
The EMP hitting 6 The Fuel, though, they retreat, they drop the
Massive
a little bit
EMP.
later, they still have a full 5, and I mean, this does not work out super well at all for Vancouver. They lose Shredlock. The disengage and re-engage by the Fuel, very, very clean here thus far.
Yeah, a bit too slow to capitalize on the
Grimzo
EMP.
still
And
has
Dallas Fuel just have
trans.
so many ults to be able to mitigate this. It looks like they're going to easily be able to take control
Oh.
here. Unless Karkar can go huge.
Nice.
Nope, not quite. Grimzo takes that casualty.
Not quite FD God there, and even then, that would have been a tall task. The Fuel, though, I mean, it still comes at a cost, Josh. It took them a very long time. Fuel, but Vancouver, though, starting to fight it back to a degree, keeping pressure here on this archway, and just waiting for respawns, where they'll have a bit of an edge.
And for Dallas running this Batiste Lucio comp, like you said, CP, it's all about speed boost engagements with that wall to find an early pick. If they can't make the fights happen quickly, they'll lose the slow fights. The Vancouver Titans have a squishy backline, they have squishy DPS. Oh, but if Doha dies like that, that's not helpful.
That was a very aggressive May play there. It did not quite work out. And Vancouver now in the process of cleanup, Dallas in the process of delay. But in terms of time, this is not bad at all for Vancouver, still ahead of the pace that Dallas set.
Yeah, we'll forget that one ever happened, Rolf. Don't even worry about it. Those Lucio's slippery targets. He's going to combine with the rest of his team here.
Managing your projects should feel more like this. That's why you need ClickUp. With ClickUp, when you want to assign a task, you task it.
And a brain breaker in many, many different ways. Understand how they didn't regroup on the objective there.
Objective good, don't stand on objective, other team cap objective in Caveman.
Thank you.
That's all you really, all you really need to know. Also, fire bursts. But now, walks in KSA. Oni got though, Deadeye, find Shockwave. And the Fuel just looking to stabilize and get themselves back in it after an unforced error, really.
This supercharger should be pretty big. Immortality Field is powerful from Karkar. It's behind a corner where people can't really break it. But they've still got that Matrix up, and they're doing damage from them around the corner. Great ult floods there as well. Under both the players in the back line, the note just gets stuck in.
And this is so nice for Dallas, where they get to secure the castle, where, you know, one of the best ways of taking point C, Josh, is having momentum, and now it's gone. The Fuel have fully stopped things.
They have stopped things, and they'll continue if Doha gets a really early tire. But otherwise, the Vancouver Titans are getting close to a lot of big ultimates. An Amp Matrix to be able to clear people away and push the Dallas Fuel back to optimal range for their backline. A Transcendence to be able to keep people alive if things get weird. Oh, but this is just so perfect.
Look at this Junkrat gameplay.
2 down already. No one expects a Junkrat outside of the gates.
I can do better though.
There.
Loki.
And think about all the time that's gonna buy Vancouver.
I can Loki probably play better than this
here.
guy.
It's big.
He's just casual.
Yeah, and they forced out Rolf's Transcendence. I don't know why Rolf used the Transcendence. That was a GG go next kind of fight. Oh, he's going to the Ana. I don't get this. I don't think this makes any sense. There's no one you would want to Nana boost. There's no extra healing that's really required. And you miss out on the shield break and the Discord Orb. I feel like this is a struggle to adapt again coming out here for the Vancouver Titans.
I guess on some level, Rolf is just dreaming of the craziest Bionade ever. But first,
yep, I mean, Bionade is useful, but I don't think you're going to be able to get easy on it.
No, I fully agree. I think it's weird.
Oh, nothing good.
And the tire on the way in, KSA down. The Fuel continuing to hold off Vancouver.
Dude, Fuel.
Hey, you take a look at even the ult side of it, right? Is that I'm not even sure Rolf gets a nano before time's up. It's only a minute left now for Vancouver.
Yeah, this isn't the same as running it with a
I was
Winston
thinking
Deep comp or a Winston Zarya comp where you can just charge.
And now he's off
Okay,
it.
he moves away. Yeah, he's just completely decided to abandon that. Is Paintbrush looking for another boop on these players as they come in? No, just doing a little bit of early scouting. Knows that the Vancouver Titans are coming in through the castle here. Dallas have so many ults to be able to defend with, though.
Yeah, Dallas, I mean, they're in position of power. This is where, for Vancouver to keep this map in contest, Dallas has to mess up, and Vancouver just has to have crazy good plays. They need both, not just one. And I'll see if the Fuel can just finish it off. Deadeye finds Talk. Crim's already down, kind of rough. But no, uses the flux beautifully, drops him down. It's a meaty flux there, Josh, and that should be it.
Flux.
Yeah, only 10 seconds left, and if Karkar can touch the point, he'll get taken down very easily. Only good with a bit of style there as well. Shockwave just knows that it's over. Karkar adds another death to the statistics, and that's going to be Dallas Fuel taking us to what is a fairly easy 2-0. I know that the first map was pretty close, but more and more we've seen throughout this first half of the series that the Vancouver Titans struggle as soon as things get a little bit outside of the play. They are not adapting as well as the Dallas Fuel are.
Yeah, I think once you get Vancouver off plan, the cracks begin to show. And I mean, what better opportunity to look at that than the weird swap coming in from Rolf towards the end of that Ike involved, right? Where you swap to Ana, which I fully agree, I think was a weird swap to begin with. And then you don't even stick with it. You go, oh, this isn't working. You go to the BAP. I mean, this is kind of indicative of a team right now that's still searching for this identity in the meta and trying to see what sticks. And it's unfortunate to be doing that in the middle of a match against an opponent that looks a lot more composed right now in the Dallas Fuel.
Yeah, and it was Dallas Fuel that had to make those adjustments in their previous series, losing North 3 to the Gladiators and figuring out that comp didn't work. But now Dallas have got to a position where they're playing some double shield stuff, and they actually look like they have a clue.
Yeah, and if you're a Dallas fan, you're getting some optimism. You've been fooled before, but right now the Fuel, they're up 2-0, and we'll see if the halftime show gives us a little bit more insight on what just happened.
Look at that play. Meaty. Meaty is poggers, buddy. Some poggers.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. Deep flavor, deep crunch. It's a mind crunch.
This music's nice.
To be the best, you need to work harder. You need to be quicker, smarter, and more determined. You need to have a bird's eye view while being fully aware of the tiniest details. You're a fierce competitor, but is your setup? Predator, powered by Intel Core i7 processors.
When you need it, Jack delivers. Order on Uber Eats, Postmates, and Grubhub.
Beginning August 19th, from the ranks of over 100 million Call of Duty's most elite warriors face off to claim the glory for 11 cities, 4 countries, with millions up for grabs. Who will become the world's best team?
1v2 for 7. Clay just smoked.
It's time to prove once and for all, glory isn't given.
Lucio playing some beats. Hey, are you still watching it? Really, it's 15 for me, 14, 13.
Welcome to our second game break of the day, presented by Pringles. Wavy, Zoe here, joined by Costa, as well as Reinforce. And, well, let's discuss the matches. Costa, I need you to start here, since you decided in our pre-show to flip-flop. And you abandoned the Dallas Fuel, and you felt like you should believe in the Titans. And quite frankly, honestly, first map, first round, that didn't look bad. It just kind of crumbled after that. When did it all fall apart for you and your team?
I think you really have to highlight the second round of that map. It really looked like the Vancouver Titans were going to take it. The Dallas Fuel used all of their ultimates on that Oasis. Section, and the Vancouver Titans had like 3 ultimates to win it. Dallas had nothing, and this is sort of highlights a lot of the issues that the Vancouver Titans have had. They sort of come in. We saw Shockwave take over the Moira and utilize that ultimate when he couldn't help anyone else. He wasn't even utilizing the healing. They used their ultimate nowhere near the rest of his team. So the pieces are there for the Vancouver Titans, but their struggle has always been stringing it together.
Yeah,
and then we headed on to Eichenwalde.
Yes, we headed into Eichenwalde, and
sorry.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if you're jumping in. I don't know.
Yeah, there was some wacky noises going on. It's all good. We're moving on to map 2 with Eichenwalde, and I mean, it started out pretty rough for the Dallas Fuel, and I think part of the reason why might be because we played Junkrat on attack. Okay, we saw Saucy try to pull it off on Route 66. Not really ideal, okay? It took some time to charge the tire, and it was a similar problem here for the Dallas Fuel. So they flexed over to the May on attack, and that's actually when the Fuel really got going. And they stuck to this May throughout the map and actually managed to complete Eichenwalde on the back of Doha's great May play as well. So it seemed like this might be the road moving forward for the Dallas Fuel. Maybe put Doha on this May on attack ground so you can actually shut down the enemy tank line. You can actually find something to engage around, considering Paintbrush is playing the Lucio. And then as well, on defense, you can maybe shift away from May and maybe try to make the Junkrat work. I think you have to be a bit more methodical about your hero picks and in what situations you're picking them, because it can be so hard to make Junkrat really work on attack rounds. It's much easier to make Junkrat work on defense rounds when you're peeling backwards, when you're backing off and letting the opponent come to you. That's when you can get a lot of Junkrat poke damage in. So I think we saw a clear identity shift when Doha picked the May instead of the Junkrat. And maybe that's a bit of a clue drops for the Dallas Fuel moving forward, rest of the series, what they're going to be playing in the rest of the maps.
Well, let's take a look at our crunch time presented by Pringles. Wavy. As you just talked about Doha at great length, let's just roll back some of his tape and take a closer look at one of his plays on Eichenwalde defense.
Yeah, this is a really great play, and we've seen people do this in this exact same spot. I think it was OG who pulled this off on the Winston. This is Doha hiding as the Junkrat, just gets a really smart flank and kills 3 without utilizing a single ultimate. This was actually, never mind.
This just shouldn't work, actually.
This is a back-breaking moment for the Vancouver Titans as well. Like, when you are starting to get confidence, you're in the 3rd point, and when you lose a fight this convincingly for almost no ultimates, only a beat, the Dallas Fuel managed to charge up everything they had. They then managed to hold for the rest of the 2 minutes just on the back of this great play by Doha. And this is a confident play, and this is what we want to see by the Dallas Fuel. They look like they're in their element. I was really surprised with how well they came out and played in this match season. It looked like they'd put a lot of practice into Farah, but they're seamlessly transitioning to this sort of Junkrat double shield style right now.
People watching?
Yep.
I kind of want to get both of your thoughts here before we're done with our halftime. We do see a lot of Junkrat in this first series between Atlanta Rain as well against Paris. and now once more a lot of Junkrat. Why do you think that is? What makes this hero viable right now?
I mean, he's a pretty slow hero, right? If you think in terms of like game tempo, right? Because the entire thing is about slowing down the tempo, just getting as much spam out as you can before the enemy comes to you, right? So with Genji out of the pool and with Tracer out of the pool, there's a lack of heroes with that level of mobility who can close the distance onto Junkrat quickly and shut him down. So you have these slower heroes instead. You have to like grind your way towards the Junkrat. But it's taking so long for these teams to really engage that the Junkrat gets so much value out of the grenades. It builds up Riptide really fast. So, you know, maybe you could have used a Zarya and a Winston, but Zarya's also out of the hero pool. So a lot of the hero pool picks that are removed this week really just go into the favor of Junkrat. And I think he's here to actually be a mainstay over the next couple of weeks.
And you know what? I'm excited about that. I'm sure Jake somewhere just manifested that into existence, and I couldn't be happier because it makes for a lot of fun moments in game. Let's see if we get more of that in that second half, or if the Titans can start their comeback as we're heading over to Volskaya next. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Pringles Wavy. Big crunch, big flavor.
Beginning August 29th.
Hey bro, you should trap for this
From the
party
ranks
sports
of
team.
over 100 million. Call of Duty's most elite warriors face off to claim the glory. For 11 cities, 4 countries. With millions up for grabs. Who will become the world's best team?
1v2%. Clay just smoked.
It's time to prove, once and for all, glory isn't given.
Oh, whoa, Nate, whoa, wait. I'll take it on that, not but jeez. Whoa, hey, Nate, whoa, you can calm down, bro.
the Dallas Fuel are learning, adapting, and changing things up from day to day. A very different Fuel showing up today in their match against Vancouver, leading to the Fuel being up 2-0 after a half of play. Josh, this is just good adaptation coming in from the Fuel.
Yeah, this is exactly what you wanted to see if you're a Dallas Fuel fan and you're looking towards the end of the regular season, because this team has made a lot of changes. They've had, a lot of turmoil within their camp. And so for them to come out, adapt very quickly from one map to the next within a week's gameplay, to dismiss compositions and strategies that weren't working very well for them, and to come out against a team that has beat them in the past, despite Vancouver Titans being at the bottom of the standings. Yeah, this is actually pretty promising stuff. It is kind of your minimum expectations, perhaps, for the Dallas Fuel to be able to beat a team like the Vancouver Titans, who, like I said, are towards the bottom of the standings. But you can't underestimate any of your opponents in the Overwatch League if you're in the middle of that pack.
Definitely not. And I mean, also, you still look at the fundamentals, right? I think a lot of Dallas Fuel fans, if they were looking at this match here, and even if the Fuel were winning these maps, but it was a struggle sticking with the Pharah that wasn't very effective yesterday, I think people would be afraid. But now they look at this and they go, wait, a lot of people were looking at the matchup yesterday, were going, Doha's a great Sombra player. Why not put Doha onto the Sombra? Why force this meta that doesn't even seem to be a thing? And, the Fuel, to their credit, they've seemingly learned. And unfortunately for Vancouver, they're the ones that have to receive the lesson that the Fuel just learned yesterday.
Absolutely. I think the Dallas are looking a lot more comfortable in terms of the compositions that they're playing right now. Obviously, still time in this series for Vancouver Titans to bounce back and make some developments of their own, make some adaptations. The halftime, the game break may have been fertile ground for those kind of seeds of adaptation to prosper. But also, Dallas is still going to do this against other opponents as well. This series isn't over yet, but neither is the regular season. And Dallas have still got some way to go to proving themselves and
did they already implicate
meeting the expectations of their fans coming into this season.
Yeah, and I think that's really good.
Wait, they didn't do it last week. Robot dancing. Dude, this is lagging bad.
Here, we're just sort of like, all right, this is a win that you'd be really concerned if they didn't get it, but it still has to be one step. Because you look at the Vancouver on the other side, Vancouver's also a team that's working through a lot of things and just, trying to find the best, most potent combination before playoffs with a team that, did get thrown into the melee of the regular season on fairly short notice.
Absolutely. They're going to be defending here with an Ashe Sombra composition, a nice little attempt at the whole hook from the Dallas Fuel to see if they could catch out maybe a Sombra or an Ashe playing in forwards. It's normally the Ashe, actually, that plays that kind of forwards position to try and get a cheeky dynamite on the spawning players. But Shockwave decides to play it in a safe position back on point A. Dalton, though, is scouting, going to communicate to the rest.
Darkrai, bro, you're literally a Pokemon. Darkrai, bro, I'll find you after this. Travaris Bubblegum Dum Dum.
Managing your projects should feel more like this. That's why you need ClickUp. With ClickUp, when you want to assign a task, you task it.
I guess it's Jarvis.
If you have to adjust your timeline, you change it. If you need to show your progress,
Jarvis is in my
you upload it.
Asking for
ClickUp is already used by thousands of the most
Jarvis,
productive teams out there, and has over 5,000.
Time to change anything about this situation as it all just goes away. That's going to be a very quick point we take here for Fuel.
This is insanely rapid. 5 minutes and 4 seconds in the time bank for Dallas, and that was over before you could blink, before you could have a chance to talk about the Ashe Hanzo gameplay from the Vancouver Titans and what that might potentially do. The Dallas Fuel just wandered in through the front door, busted open, and decided to take control of the point.
Yeah, I mean, 5 minutes and 4 seconds on Volskaya. I don't know if that was quite speedrun territory, but that's all in terms of overall records. But, you know, I half wonder if that was close to top 10. That's very, very quick for this map. And you talk about the storyline here where Vancouver not only has to win Volskaya, Josh, or at least make it a draw, they also have to reverse sweep the rest of the way through. This was not the beginning, to say the least.
No, this was not the beginning that they were looking for whatsoever. I mean, very difficult stuff for them. Take a look at the replay as well here. Look at this halt. That's perfectly timed from Gamsu and Note. Destroys Rolf. There's a right click there, comes out from Crimzo as well. It's all just combined together to assassinate the backline of the Titans before they can get set up.
It's really nice coordination from the Fuel, and you know, in a way, I kind of feel like the Fuel have been gaining in strength as the series went on. You go back to map 1; it was a very close map 1, but you know, I feel like as you get to more setup maps, especially maps like Assault, you know, the cracks for Vancouver in their compositions, in their gameplay, show more readily, and you know, the Fuel look even better by comparison.
Well, let's take a look and see if they can be just as good on the defense here and close things out in a very clean manner for their fans. We're in the McCree and the Sombra, which is a bit of a weird setup for Volskaya. It's a very long-range map, so you normally see people running the Ashe or the Widowmaker instead. But they're going for an aggressive play. They're trying to brawl.
Challenging Shockwave like that is risky. That easily could have won against Dallas. However, in this case, it doesn't. Doha gets enough poke damage, takes down Shockwave, and if Doha can stay alive at death's door right now, does. This is really, really good for the Fuel on their first defense.
So they're playing this kind of rush brawl composition here, where their intention with the Moira Lucio is to play fast and aggressive into the Vancouver Titans. Try and find a halt or a rock or a flash onto Shredlock as he's coming in through the chunk, or onto KSA actually, and be able to get a pick on one of these tanks before Shockwave can find his timings on the Widowmaker. You have to play fast against the Widowmaker, otherwise if you just give them all the time in the world, they'll eventually get a pick.
At the very least, you have to be denying sightlines, if not that, but I totally agree. Playing quick is the way to go. Doha keeping the pressure right now. Wants to Widow back. Onigod, meanwhile, the presence in the back, but Shockwave still finds Doha, and Rule kicks open the front door, cursing the Coalescence. Now the Fuel in real danger. Not the tools readily available to easily bring this back, though not impossible. Meanwhile, Vancouver, they have to bring the sword to the point. They get Gomsu, that could be it. Onigod looks for the Deadeye, doesn't get anything. Rush out of the fight. The Fuel still struggling here with the Supercharger. Enough to keep Vancouver back for a little bit. Shockwave out of the fight, and Onigod a real chance to turn this around.
They are investing so many ultimates into this. It looks almost lost. The Vancouver Titans should have a huge advantage. But Doha has found a pick on Rolf, and Shredlock hasn't found too much value with his final raid. And even if this all falls to pieces for Dallas right here, the Vancouver Titans have still been forced to use way more ults than they would have liked.
Yeah, and you look at the time drained off the clock, it's a good, solid about 2 minutes. It's not the craziest point A defense, but more importantly, Josh, this sets up Dallas really well for their point B defense that's coming up.
4 minutes and 30 seconds still on the clock, so no matter what, it's not going to be a faster time for Vancouver, but like you said, Dallas have still got ults to work with here, getting close to double support ults and an EMP available as well. The key player is Shockwave. He's always going to be the key player when he's on the Widowmaker. He needs to find opening picks. He found an opening one on point A. He killed Doha very early on.
Yeah, and they prevented EMP from being a factor. Now Vancouver pressuring the back, but Doha's already found Karkar and Shredlock. Not looking particularly healthy. Loses the support, loses his life, and the Fuel just get to casually walk forward, solidify their advantage. Now, they didn't use EMP there, Josh, so it's not entirely free.
Yeah, not free, but it's pretty cheap in terms of the amount of utility and ultimates utilized there. Shockwave goes down, and again, I feel like the Vancouver Titans are just waiting for a pick from him. That's got to be your plan here. It's such a slow-paced composition playing with the Widowmaker and the Sombra. And it doesn't synergize well, as I've previously been saying, with the Moira Lucio kind of comp, because the Moira gets the Coalescence very quickly, and the Lucio wants to speed boost people into position. But the whole time, you can't really take the engagement until Shockwave's either gotten a pick or you have some big ults to be able to work with. This EMP could be crucial, but Dallas have a lot to be able to respond with themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's either you're waiting for the pick or waiting for Dalton to set up a good EMP. Meanwhile, Dallas has a lot more room. Now, Doa's super low to start the fight. Shockwave doesn't let him feel the beat. Not a time to save. That's real big. Shockwave with 2, going wild in the back. Getting set up here. Over 16 HP in the Dream. Ends up falling the Paintbrush, but I mean, the Fuel, I don't even know if Paintbrush can get back. He can't.
Shockwave goes huge. I mean, he just hits some really nice shots there on top of the EMP being utilized. Doha taken down early on before the sound barrier can get onto him. It's wonderful stuff there from Shockwave in the backlines. They made a lot of space for him, and Dallas Fuel had to respect that because Dalton had the EMP available. But at the end of the day, you've got somebody in a power position like that playing the Widowmaker. They need to hit their shots, and Shockwave came out with all the results that his team needed of him.
I just had a revelation. It's been like one of those crazy days on so many fronts. You know, one thing we haven't had is 6 CP.
That's true. That's very true. This map is now destined to go 10-10.
The conditions are ripe for the summoning, the Volskaya of the ages. You know, I'm trying to really curse this the other way, but I just feel like it's one of those days. But this is the replay from Shockwave's point of view that really kicked it off.
Yeah, he already killed Doha as well. He's down to 16 health, and I think Doha was pressuring him, and he got a fully charged body shot onto him there, and then picks off Onigod, and then does a bunch of damage to Note while he's hovering in the air with his Gravitic Flux. There's a huge amount of pressure coming out from that Widowmaker in the backlines.
Yeah, and I mean, we kind of set it up where we mentioned, okay, they're just relying on Shockwave to do everything. Well, guess what? That was a scenario where Shockwave did everything, and it worked out really well. But consistency is a problem when you're relying on Widow to do all of that, because the other team, you know, can really limit the Widow's opportunities if they play around it.
Shoko's worried about the Sombra. I mean, obviously, we can tell with the caster vision that he's just shooting the thin air, but now Doha's on him.
Yep. Doha's taking the fight. This is looking real rough, and yeah, not ideal circumstances there for Shockwave.
Difficult. You can see what he's going for, that long flank. If he can manage to get behind, then he breaks open this choke point for his team and allows an easy entry for the Titans. But Doha's just always going to be there. He's going to be monitoring where the Widowmaker is trying to play. And I don't think Doha's going to let you go on those crazy kind of flanks.
It was also good awareness for Doha going, wait, I don't see the Widow over here. Only one place the Widow can be, and you know, immediately shut down the flank before it could really happen. And now Doha right now, still on Widow duty.
If Doha goes to contest Shockwave, though, he needs to use his Translocator, which puts him in a very risky position. So he doesn't want to do that. Instead, he's fine just waiting for the Widowmaker to drop once the Vancouver Titans engage.
Meanwhile, on the front line, yep, Sombra Widow in the back. Now Cole on both ends. Fuel getting a little bit more for it. Onigod getting super low, still healed up. Vancouver getting pushed back, and now you look at the time, Josh. They had 2 minutes to start things off. 30 seconds left remaining. Final push potentially on the way.
EMP available for Doha here. Dalton 25% behind. Oh, but Kaka comes out with the win. Did they manage to kill his Translocator, perhaps? It's got to be, right? It's got to be something like that. Otherwise, Doha would have an escape mechanism.
This is such a huge opportunity for Vancouver. The EMP, not a threat. But if you're Dallas, you can hold back here. I think they can wait for Doha, Josh.
Kaka's going to have his ultimate, so is Dalton and Shredlock. A lot of abilities here for Titans to take space and win the fight.
Again!
Huge.
Shockwave! Unbelievable pick from the side. Exactly what Vancouver needed. And Josh, they're still alive.
Huge plays coming out from the Vancouver Titans, both in terms of dealing with Doha, I assume killing his Translocator, and then Kaka gets the finishing blow, and then the headshot there from Shockwave in the final fight. That's enormous because it allows them to save their double support ult and their EMP to be able to engage onto point B here, and it's still winnable.
All right, Vancouver trying to make this at least 4. Dalton,
EMP
good to go. Both sides working with it. Dalton trying to take the initiative here into the back. The Fuel looking to stem the tide here for Vancouver. Dobson gets hacked early. EMP out from Doha, strikes forward, but there's the heat in from Karkar. Vancouver still in a good spot. They drop the EMP of their own. Both EMP's gone. Crimzo, Cole in the middle. Shredlock, Shockwave, both down. And the Fuel getting the better of the engage. And it looks like the push is going to stop right here.
A valiant attempt from the Vancouver Titans, but at the end of the day, Gamsu's supercharger is just pushing out way more damage than Karkar's poor little sound barrier is able to deal with. And we end with 3 points on the board for the Titans. I could certainly see a draw happening here, CP. Dallas did manage to take point B last time with a lot of momentum, but we haven't really seen them take just an equal fight into point B.
Yeah, I think this is still a little bit tough for Vancouver, but you know, sometimes you get your telescopes out and look for the draw, because I do see a world here where Dallas on the attack tries to get a little bit too tricky on things, ends up losing about 2 attacks, and you know, it doesn't take much on point A to put yourself in a nearly insurmountable hole for point B. So even though Dallas set a very quick time the first time around, you can't always count on that being the case on the retry.
Yeah, definitely. Those results aren't always replicable. And the Vancouver Titans are going to be defending with a very similar kind of composition coming out here. Shockwave, a lot of pressure on him again to be able to hit these shots. See if Dallas try anything. I think they're just going to go for the exact same kind of setup. A Shockwave, of course, was on the Ashe last time when he was defending, so now moving over to the Widowmaker, where I would argue that he's had much more impact playing the Widow. I think it suits his style a lot more.
So much pressure, though, in this situation where, you know, as a Widow, you have to be perfect for 4 minutes on point A if you're looking for the win, and still pretty consistent overall if you're just trying to force the draw. I mean, you know, the degree to which Shockwave is going to have to play perfectly here is kind of unreal.
Dallas are considering what composition they want to use here. Notes made his way over to the Diva, which is going to allow him more opportunity in the middle of these fights to harass and contest Shredlock as he jumps away, and also Shockwave.
You see the pressure into the back, and I mean, at this point, if you're you take down Shockwave, you know you've dealt with public enemy number 1, and don't get wrong, wait, did he just do that under pressure?
That's absurd.
How in the world getting Crimzo? Now, the Fielder's still heading on in, they've dealt with Karkar. Dalton, riding Onigod, and Vancouver proving to be remarkably resilient, but that flick shot from Shockwave, just disgusting, Josh.
Yeah, that really is. That's a fight decider. They've taken a minute off the clock there, and the peel was a little late, all right, from the Vancouver Titans. It was a little bit late, but when it came in, it was at the exact crucial time, just as Shockwave was about to die. And here's the replay. He's just finished getting harassed by Doha. First shot after he's taken the peel is that grapple shot onto Crimzo that just takes all of the healing away from Dallas.
He's under pressure again. You keep seeing his health go so low, and if Dallas is successful even once, you know, that very well could be the map. EMP out from Dalton. Hits 3 on the fuel, and Dalton still keeps his life. Gets away. The fall through for Vancouver coming in up the front. And this, not too bad here so far, but Karkar and Shredlock, they get caught towards the end, and Reaper sustain really good.
Yeah, not like this. Not like this, Titans. You had so many opportunities there. You found the opening kill onto Wolf, and you onto the Crimzo, and you demech Note. But after that, they just invested way too heavily in the fight. Can Shockwave save them?
I don't believe. I mean, I believe in Shockwave to a degree, but this would be insane. Gets Doha, but you need so much more, and you need presence on the point. Surely not.
It's possible. The Vancouver Titans have got a Primal Rage here to be able to scatter people around.
Oh, no doubt of it. Is this truly happening? Vancouver not giving up. Dalton, the EMP ready to go, but Shockwave's out of the fight. It's Paintbrush of all people putting an end to it. And now you gotta look back over the Dalton, the EMP ready, Gamsu out of the fight. And Dalton dies. Doesn't get a chance to drop the EMP. Fuel flooding back over. Onigod, Death Blossom, Shredlock down. And this is so scrappy.
Yeah, insanely scrappy. Really clutch as well. Onigod with the Death Blossom just towards the end as KSA had run out of his defense matrix. But I think the key difference maker in that fight, obviously Shockwave hitting his shots is fantastic, but I really believed that the Titans were coming back into that one until Dalton died. They didn't pocket him enough. He was close to his EMP. If he had unleashed the EMP, I think that fight was turnable. But now, a minute and a half to defend point B, and they still have the EMP bomb, and they're going to be close to a sound barrier as well. This, telescopes out. The draw might be coming.
Yeah, I think that the draw is very much in the cards here. Now, that said, the Fuel still have this one good opportunity And once more, you look towards Doha. This time, though, Dalton takes the initiative, drops the EMP, but I think if you're the Fuel, you're okay with this. If you end up losing this fight, it's fine. You've saved your resources. The Fuel are going to have one really good fight coming up.
Yeah, for the Vancouver Titans, they don't invest too many ults in there. It's an EMP and a self-destruct, so they've still got double support ult and the primal. And Infrasight as well, of course, which will empower Shockwave to potentially clutch even harder towards the end of this fight. But you're right, Dallas have got all the ults they need to be able to take this. They can plunk down a supercharger, push forwards, EMP people. Again, I keep thinking about it, but it comes down to Shockwave. If Shockwave hits some shots here, the draw is going to happen.
Yeah, meanwhile for Dallas, you want to be very quick here. Limit the window for Shockwave to find these shots. The Infrasight is up. 18 seconds left remaining. And I don't know if Dallas wants to wait this out. No, they're going to go in. They drop the Supercharger. Now the stage is set. Doha, what's your EMP going to be? Supercharger is down. And Doha is still looking for that good EMP. Still waiting. Finally drops it. Hits 2. KSA going to get demeched as a result. Beat Karkar a little bit late. And now the Cole in from the back. Crimzo keeping the team alive. Dallas still looking healthy. Only got spin to the back, doesn't quite get anything. Vancouver still in this. Shockwave still alive. Doha out of the fight. Vancouver looking for the hold, but the Fuel, the frontline battle, strong. The EMP comes out a little bit late from Dalton. 4 still up for the Fuel, and the EMP might have been too late, Josh.
The EMP also caught Paintbrush, and so it completely negated the sound barrier, but Dallas Fuel had already got positioning over the point, and they're able to take the win. Huge stuff. Great pocket onto Onigon as well when he was playing that Reaper, ensuring that he never died, allowing him to get that Death Blossom off as well, and zoning players out away from the point. Also, note with a nice self-destruct towards the end there that did pretty much exactly the same thing. It was scrappy. It was close. But at the end of the day, Dallas Fuel have a clean 3-0 to put on the board against an opponent that has previously stumped them so far in 2020.
I think right now, if you're Dallas, you're looking at the weekend. I'm not sure a lot of people thought they would beat the Gladiators, but they learned from their mistakes of yesterday, came back stronger against Vancouver, and I mean, this is a starting point that they needed, and overall, pretty consistent play, especially from players like Note.
Yes. Yeah, Note was very consistent throughout this match. Doha had some high moments as well, but the Dallas Fuel has got a good, well-rounded a system. When you see them playing games like that, that's what comes to mind, is that they are able in these matches to rely on just a decent system where the pieces understand how to work well together. And I think that's the advantage of having that Gamsu Note tank line. It's not amazing. It's not going to get you these like championship title runs, but it's solid.
Yeah, and it's something to build on. And, that does lead us to our player of the match presented by Xfinity. And it's Note. I think Note, it's easy when you're a solid performer to kind of get lost in, the flashiness of other roles. But I think Note was a huge part of why Dallas always had a foundation here today.
Yeah, it's a good performance from the Dallas Fuel, and Note as well. I mean, he had good performances both on the Diva, able to get back to his primary role, and also on the Sigma, which he's done a lot of work this season to develop into being as potent as his Diva when it comes to the play for the Dallas Fuel. So yeah, he had some great moments there over the course of this series, really helping his team clean up and stabilize in the middle of these team fights, exactly what you would want from a Sigma. And Dallas do the business. They managed to get a 3-0 here.
Yeah, I just wonder here, you're looking for a Dallas perspective, you're going, wait, there's hope. And, there is a cycle to all this where, you're getting hope, you're going, everything's going well. And then sometimes it just seems like the bottom falls under from Dallas. But, look, better the win here today, start cultivating the hope. And we'll see if this is the time that Dallas, does surprise people as we head into the playoffs.
Yeah, they've got to push towards the end of the regular season. Its development and refine their teamwork, fix mistakes that were happening for them earlier on in the season. And I don't envy the task of new interim head coach for the Dallas Fuel, but I do think that if they are going to make developments, it has to be now. Like they need to work off the back of Young taking over and turn that into a success. He's got a really tough task ahead of him to be able to turn the reasonable system of the Dallas Fuel into punting above their weight. But I think it's possible for them.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also kind of a tricky area to be in too, where in any sport, right, you have the example of an interim head coach, and, you know, often what decides, do you become the actual head coach, or do you find yourself, you know, still in the assistant role or off on another team? You know, it is really this period here of how the team immediately does. But enough of that. We want to talk to the man of the hour. We got Zoe with Note.
We do indeed. Thank you, CP. And Josh, Note, congratulations, and thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. It was a fun match to play, even if it was a tiny bit of a sweep.
Well, I mean, sweeps can be entertaining to watch as well. However, let's start this off with a less entertaining topic. Yesterday, you guys faced off against the Gladiators, and we did see you guys incorporating a lot of Pharah into your compositions. Today, you showed a very different look. Was that due to the takeaways from yesterday's match?
A little bit of that, and a little bit of watching what Vancouver were going to play. We saw that they're doing a lot of Winston Diva, Echo, Sombra stuff. And we didn't think the Pharah was the best matchup against that. We really wanted it as more of like a counter to a Rush style, more like Arista Sigma kind of comps. But yeah, we definitely just wanted to adjust to whatever would give us the best chance of beating Vancouver.
Yeah, and I mean, today it was a really solid performance from you and your team. Overall, looking at the hero pool this week, I know it's going to be a little awkward for a lot of the teams. How long did it take for you guys to kind of find your footing in this new meta now?
We really did a lot of experimenting, trying to find out what would be best for us, not just like kind of adhering to exactly whatever the meta of everyone else is playing. But it really didn't take us too long. I think we had a really good week of scrims overall, I think, and definitely found our footing by the end of it, even if we couldn't win the first match.
Which teams are you currently scrimming the most against? Has that changed over the course of the season a lot, or are you just kind of consistent with your scrim partners?
It always changes. If you're going to play like a team in the coming weeks, you won't end up scrimming them that week or even in like the weeks before it. So typically whoever we've played recently will scrim a decent amount. And it's always changing. I think we've scrimmed like almost every team in NA at least like once or twice. Kind of just varies to who's available, I guess.
Yeah. Now the season is almost over. We are in the last 2 weeks. What's the mood like in the team so far?
I think we really want to put on a good performance at the end. I think nobody's happy with how this season's gone. I think everybody's really hungry to just perform better and keep improving. Just overall, we want to do better than we have been doing right now.
Well, and you will get that chance. Thank you so much. Great performance today from you and your team, Note, and we can't wait to see you guys pop off in the playoffs as well.
Thank you very much. Have a good one.
You too. Now we're heading into a very quick break, and then afterwards we are back with the next match of the day, which will be played out between the Boston Uprising and the LA Gladiators, so don't go anywhere. Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
What's up, guys? It's Hex here to give you a quick update on the changes that just went live in Overwatch. There's a lot to break down. Let's take a look. First up is Orisa. Halt radius has been reduced from 7 to 4 meters. Halt projectile speed has been increased from 20 to 30. Orisa's base armor has been reduced from 250 to 200. Next up, Sigma. The experimental barrier health has been reduced from 900 to 700. Experimental barrier regeneration rate has also been reduced from 120 to 80 per second. Finally, kinetic grasp cooldown has been increased from 10 seconds to 12 seconds. Next up, Roadhog. While scrap gun ammo has been reduced from 6 to 5, scrap gun damage per projectile has been increased from 6 to 7. Roadhog's recovery has also increased from 0.7 to 0.85 seconds. That's it for the tanks, but let's move on to healers, and what better way to start than the half-tank, half-healer that is Brigitte. Her base health has been lowered from 200 to 150, the Inspire total healing has decreased from 130 to 90, but the Inspire's self-healing is no longer reduced by half. Next up is everyone's favorite Omnic, Zenyatta. Secondary fire charge rate is increased by 15%. Secondary fire shots per second has increased from 8.5 to 9. Now on to the damage dealers. First up is the Rocket Queen herself, Pharah. Hoverjet's movement speed has increased 20%. Hoverjet's regeneration rate has been reduced from 50 to 35 per second. And rocket barrage duration has been reduced from 3 seconds to 2.5. Last up is Symmetra, who's seen a lot of play in the Overwatch League lately. A lot more mobility now available, as teleporter cooldown has been reduced from 12 to 10 seconds. Let's break down what this looks like for Overwatch League play. Now, even though these changes are live in Overwatch right now, the Overwatch League won't be playing on these changes until the postseason. We still have 2 more weeks of catch-up matches, and then the fun begins. With the changes that have been made to some of the major tanks in Overwatch, you can expect a more frantic pace. With barrier health reduced, the decision of when and where to use those barriers has a greater impact. Cooldown management will also come to the forefront with some of the changes of the most important utility tank abilities. Roadhog has been slowly sneaking into the Overwatch League meta, and with the changes to his damage and recovery rate, you could see him run as a frontline shield cracker. Brigida's gone through a lot of changes, with her base health being decreased but her self-healing going up. It's going to be interesting to see if teams still feel comfortable running her on the front line. It's very likely you might see her paired up with a healer like Moira, who can overcome some of those healing deficiencies. With Brigida's base health being lowered from 200 to 150, it's questionable whether she'll maintain her brawler status. With the changes to Zenyatta's damage, the lethal supports in the Overwatch League, Alarm, Kariv, and AimGod, are going to be even that much more deadly. With Pharah being more mobile than ever, we might see a resurgence in Pharah Mercy compositions. Teams like San Francisco Shock, who've run far in the past, and especially teams in the APAC region, such as Shanghai and Chengdu, stand to benefit the most. Symmetra's been a niche hero pick in the Overwatch League for several months now, but with teleporter cooldown going from 12 seconds to 10 seconds, she might be able to expand her role beyond point A's and control maps. That's the rundown of these changes. Good luck, have fun.
Beginning August 29th, from the ranks of over 100 million, Call of Duty's most elite warriors face off to claim the glory. Glory isn't given.
A lot of fun, action-packed.
Amazing.
It's very simple to pick up, easy to understand. It's a little tougher. It's a lot more fun.
There's just always a different outcome.
I'll see you
On the battlefield.
He's hungry, man. Goes for the graviton early on here, and yet OG in space go down.
流量流，可能以流量流要留到最后。 技术给到温斯顿， 没有 OG 往前，这一波直接收了2。
Birdring though pressure down hard. Fusion's doing a good OG impression, finding 2 kills alone.
来，那这一波 Miro 开场又收掉 Mumbo， 这火箭弹幕交出去，后续都不用再交什么招了。
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Overwatch League. Hope your Saturday's been fantastic, and we are far from done here. League side, I'm Mitch Leslie here with. Actually, it's just Matt Morello. It's just the normal casting pair from us today. I don't want to get anyone too excited.
I thought you were going to announce me as somebody else. I was like, wait, I was like, oh, no, I
considered it, but I was trying to come up with someone who would be like a mild insult, but not too bad, and I just couldn't think of anything nice to say, so I just referred to you. Matt, we've got the Boston Uprising.
That makes me feel great going into today's game.
All right, so I've given you a bit of a pump up. Look, let it never be said that I don't gas up my teammates, you know what I mean? But we've got the Boston Uprising versus the LA Gladiators. Both teams who could use a bit of fuel in the tank. The Gladiators got theirs yesterday, of course, with their victory over Dallas. The Boston Uprising is still looking to snap a long win streak, lost streak, sorry.
Well, we have seen Boston beat the Gladiators in the past. You remember when Boston
they've never lost to the Gladiators, man.
Yeah, when they picked up Punk. I mean, look, there's a time for all streaks to end. I mean, this may be it. But when they picked up Punk, they were able to get a victory over the Gladiators. So we've seen Boston have success against this team in the past. Although I would say I don't think the Gladiators will come in here and probably take Boston as light as they've taken them.
No, it's unlikely. And one of the reasons for that, Matthew, might be the individual known to many, and me as well, as Jerry, who's looked extremely good over the course of his time with the Boston Uprising. A real standout player on this roster. I love, actually, that we're using a head-to-head here on Ashe. This is an Ashe head-to-head. And you can see, just the amount of damage he's providing. Birdring, though, had one of the most insane individual performances that I've ever seen from him yesterday. Better than his year one sort of debut year performance. The guy was absolutely insane. And he reminded me of Carpe, in the way that he clutched out some of these rounds. And I think that's a fair comparison to make.
I think the inaugural season playoffs, Birdring was incredible on the Widowmaker. So I think this is just a little bit of we haven't seen it in a while from Birdring in this type of epicness, I would say. And when we look at those head-to-heads, I know Jerry has the best in a few key categories, but I would also say that Color Hex probably has not provided as much damage in the secondary damage dealer role as, let's say, like a Mirror or a Kevster has, right? Okay. Where I think both those players have been really strong. For the Gladiators, we can take a look at the Gladiators starting roster today. Kevster, Birdring, in terms of the damage dealers, OG in space and the tanks, and then we always know what the support crew is going to be, right? Big Goose and Shaz back there holding it down.
Unless Mirror's playing Brig. But
or Mirror's playing Zarya, right? If Zarya is in the hero pool, I mean, you kind of look at Mirror thrown all over the place.
In hindsight, I guess Mirror actually kind of got nerfed by this hero pool because both Zarya and Brig, the only ways that he actually flexes to other roles are out of or unable to be selected
Genji,
right now. So,
yeah,
Genji's out of the pool. I mean, Kalahek probably breathed a sigh of relief. Genji not in the hero pools. He's always looked like he's a little bit more comfortable on Pharah or Reaper, for example. So he might have a chance again to show us a little bit more of the depth of his hero pool instead of just having to play Genji. But here we go. Make no mistake, the Gladiators have never beaten the Boston Uprising. You say, Matt, there's a good chance that streak gets broken today, but Boston they're looking for that third victory still here in this season.
You got to think that D-Pay is really hyping the Gladiators up, that they have the opportunity to get back to 500, right? Get to 9-9 with a win here today against the 2-17 Boston Uprising. You think this would be a huge game for the Gladiators, that they would really kind of put all of it into it. The Gladiators 5-1 on this map. Boston is yet to win it. All signs point towards the Gladiators today, but you never know.
Yeah, I mean, the Gladiators are finding themselves, Matt, in a kind of a familiar spot, right? Being really close to 500 on the cusp. They're definitely eyeing off a playoff berth, and they really need squeaky clean finishes like they got against the Dallas Fuel, even though that was a little dicey at times. They definitely need a W here. They're not underestimating the Boston Uprising. And Carla Hex may have an opportunity to play an old favorite of his, the Junkrat, combined with the McCree. So not an uncommon setup here. The Gladiators want to go with the May, though.
Yeah, both teams run the Lucio, so they want to get aggressive Almost like how Sideshow was comparing it earlier to like the Reinhardt rush comes, but you're playing it with the Orisa Sigma instead of Rhine Sigma for a little bit more staying power. So looks like Boston was going to go try and get the high ground. They get beat there with a nice May wall that came in from Kebser. So this is going to give Birdring all this control.
I mean, this is dangerous when Birdring's set in this position. Colorhex can barely peek to try and get damage done. Punk almost got caught out there and had to go for an Immortality Field, had to sit under it, and a Kinetic Grasp from him does keep him standing. The Gladiators have already captured the point, though. This is where things get a bit messy, though. Maywall comes off, but it doesn't split anyone from Boston away. All of the team had already committed to the point, but losing their front line of first. Fusion's down, Yungbong second to go, and the Uprising are going to fall apart here.
You lose Fusions, and then when you lose Myungbong, I mean, losing your Orisa and your Batiste here, right? Just think of everything they provide to the team. You're not going to last much longer. You did have to use an Ant Matrix for the Gladiators, but if Boston comes back, uses like Ant Matrix here, you have a Blizzard you can throw in the way. We see a lot of nice tech where the Ant Matrix goes down and you can kind of put a wall to split it off or a wall to just block the damage that could come through. So a lot of ways to combat that.
Okay, I'm live again. Cool. What do you want to play?
What game would you recommend?
The easiest one?
I mean, like, which game do you, like,
One I play all the time? Overwatch is the only one I play. You can try it out if you want. Coronavirus.
Ty, I have 2 days to live.
Oh, great. Nice to know you passed that one on to me.
Is it a Chromebook?
No.
What is it?
It is like a burner laptop that I had. Dell.
Dell.
Do the jumpy thing.
Wait, can I see that? Where's the box?
Nice.
No. We'll do orange.
Wait, can I do a console companion through there? Maybe I can. Matthew, here's your time to shine, buddy.
I've never played this game before.
Yeah, you have. You've played Overwatch.
I have?
Make sure the OBS is on. Okay.
Is it difficult? I don't understand what I'm supposed to do.
You're gonna sit here and you're gonna play the game and you're gonna talk like you never played it before. You're gonna do
haven't.
commentary to the one viewer who's still watching over 2 hours.
I don't want to do that though.
I posted earlier when I had 850. And they all left because I didn't do anything.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
You're gonna kill people! It's gonna be laggy, but you're gonna kill people and you're gonna stream.
How about you talk and I play and you point out everything I'm doing wrong?
Okay, here. You have to sit here now.
I don't want to sit there.
Yeah, you do. Dude, it's so much better. You can't see it from there.
I can see.
Sit.
understand what I'm supposed to do.
You're supposed to play the game and then queue it up for damage so you can play the easiest guard in the game. Thinking about the headset on now. Dude.
You can sit over there. I don't want to sit in
Oh
my
my
chair. It's
God,
just your
you're
chair.
so
Come on, what? What happened? What's this for?
Put the headset on so you can hear. It's muted, dude. Oh my God, put the headset on.
These are.
Honestly, I'll just plug it back into the Xbox.
It's not.
And you can adjust it. Okay. Well, if you want to hear, know who's around you, then do that. You're officially a streamer. Just, yeah. Like that. And then you can adjust the sides. Like this.
Oh. How'd you do that?
Here, I'll do it. It's a little wanky, but... Lopsided head. Okay, so it should be on there. Yes. You can pull it down, like the sides, and you can push it back in. You're wearing a hat, dude. Unless you don't want to wear it, strength TV volume.
Where are they going in?
Yes. They can't go.
Alright, this is fine.
Unless you don't want the headset, then you don't have to. So, use this. RT's to shoot. You can hold that down. And then click X to reload.
Oh, I don't need to do that.
This is X, that's reload. Y is from when your ultimate's ready. I can just show it.
I got it.
Okay, now you click LB. Soldier's the only one with this, so click LB. And then this one. And then use left stick and move. Like this one. You'll catch on.
And stay down.
Back with the PogChamp Matthew here. As he destroys the lobbies, kills everyone. And basically that. So if I can double side this.
Much better.
Okay.
Double.
There's other people who can play too, but this is the most dangerous one. And headshot if you aim for the head with one.
I've got you in my sights.
Now you hold an RT, he locks on.
Target rich environment.
Nice! Nice! Wrong. You want to change people? Hold it, yeah. And then use left stick and pick anyone.
Anyone?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What happened?
You're in a game now.
What?
You're in a game with online people. And I'm really good because I'm a high level. I expect this on you. I just want to see me play first, then you go.
Who do I pick?
Whatever you want.
What?
Whatever you want.
I don't know. Who's good?
Depends on what you like.
frustrate this dude.
Okay.
We're all.
But what am I doing?
Round's about to start.
Whoa, it's got the... What am I doing?
You're gonna run out that door. You're right. Now click LB, remember?
What am I doing?
You're gonna kill people. Click LB and then move.
How do I do that again? Oh, this is fun.
No, yeah. And then click LB to stop. If there's the enemy team, shoot those guys.
Oh, you got a shield.
Now he's just gonna really abolish you in a second. Now you're dead, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Oh yeah, RB is the healing ability. Unless you want to watch me play, then try. Jeez.
I'm not a young man anymore.
Watch that, that's their soldier. Now click, you can click LT to shoot the rockets, remember?
I did it.
You want me to see? I can try for you if you want. Show you how you
The war goes on.
Nice! You got one! Nice. I've not stopped streaming, dude. They don't say started probably. Watch. Oh, I know what it's talking about.